Hi, I'm Joe Olivas. I'm the General Manager of Redmond Movies and Stories in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've been an independent filmmaker for the past 7 years. Today I'm lucky enough to look at Maxicrane's newest offering. It's a completely programmable 5-axis head and dolly system, the Scarab Dolly with the movie head. Comes with a touchscreen controller, and today we're going to slap a Sony FS7 Mark II and 18-110 on there and put it through its paces and see what it can do. Let's take a look. One of the coolest things about this setup is the rail system. These are polished aluminum rails, not your traditional speed rail. And what's very cool is that this 13-foot section you see here is 2 pipes. However, all the couplings are internal. So you're not gonna have that bump that you may have found yourself with on other dolly systems. I'm passing over a joint right now and it's smooth as butter because those couplings are internal. And I'll show you what I mean. This head is very responsive. Now this is a joystick head, but you can hook up your wheels if you want to. I prefer the wheels myself, but joysticks, a lot of people are using joysticks nowadays, and these joysticks are very responsive. They're very accurate. There's no guessing, did I hit my mark? Your mark has gotten hit. And that goes for the programming too. Once you program this thing to do a move, it'll do it, and it'll repeat it as many times as you want. What's cool about these handles is they're modular. You can remove them from this controller and put them on the end of your jib, put this head at the end of your jib, and have the same control off of a dolly system and on a jib. The handles are also cool in that you can program them to be whatever you want. There's 2 joysticks under here and 2 on top. You can program the 2 on top to be your tilt and your pan. You can program them to be your dolly or your zoom, etc. Anything you want, however this feels most comfortable in your hands, that's how you can set it up. Right here you can see that I'm controlling the head, and this controls your pan and your tilt, and in each parameter you can control your speed, your ramping, and your acceleration, meaning that these joysticks can be as sensitive as you want to complete the moves you want. It's really helpful when you have a long lens at the end of the camera. You can also navigate through the menu and control the same thing for the dolly and the lens. Perfect. All right, so from the main menu, let's talk about how we can refine our controls. We go down in here to setup, we go to input calibration, and now you're looking at the adjustments that I can make for the joysticks. We're in pan mode, and what this slider here is a visual representation of the joystick itself, right? So if I shorten this up on both sides, I'm essentially shortening the amount I need to move the joystick to get a response. This is not the same as deadband. This is the amount that the joystick has to travel physically to accomplish a move. So I can also adjust the deadband or the responsiveness of the joystick. If I want the joystick to be a little more forgiving, right, for your operator, I can increase that deadband, and now the joystick is not going to be as sensitive to little movements. Rather, it's a very deliberate push to get that smooth pan. If I want to take the deadband away so that I'm instantaneously responsive in my joystick, I would take that deadband all the way to 0. But whenever I do that on the movie head, I want to make sure I recenter that head so that there's no drift. So now my joystick initiates automatic movement out of that head. I like to do a little bit of deadband in there, just to feather that touch a little bit. I can control pan, I can control the slider in the exact same manner, as well as tilt, zoom, and focus. So this control setup can be as sensitive as you need it to be for your operator. One of the cool things about this system is that you're able to program positions right from the controller. If I go into scenes, I go and I find my first position, and I refine it exactly where I need it as far as focus, tilt, and pan. I click on memory 1, and I say, this is position 1 for pan, tilt, dolly, zoom, focus. I want it to record all of those parameters where it currently sits. I press OK, then I find my second position. We'll come right over here, we'll find this, fix that zoom, press and hold memory 2, and then I'm going to tell it, remember this position for pan, tilt, dolly, zoom, and focus. I press OK, and now I can bounce back and forth between position 1 and position 2. It's that easy. Now, say you want to make further adjustments from position 1 to position 2. You have further control over that. You can control the ramping, which is the acceleration between in and out of the move. Everything here is programmed to be an easy in, easy out, but you can control how fast it comes to a stop and how fast it comes to a start. And you'll see the difference in the movements if I go from memory 1 and back to position 2. Just change the acceleration there. Now, say that you need it to be faster and or slower. I'll take the speed, I'll drop this down, and you can see the time of the movement increase right here on the screen in front of you. So you've taken a 2-second move and made it into a 7-second move. And then that move's taking 7 seconds to accomplish. You can imagine how useful this would be when you're trying to set up an interview shot or something and your moves just aren't quite timing out right. Rather than having to reprogram moves longer on the dolly, you can increase the time they take and get the same result. Much easier though. All right, now let's say that you find yourself in a studio situation. You've got 3 talking heads, 3 talent, and you find yourself always going back to the same movements, right? It's very easy to program those positions right here. I've already got 3 set up. Let's just show you what I'm talking about. Now, I take my acceleration to 0 because I want these moves to be almost instantaneous, and I want the speed to be 100% because I want them to be really fast. And now it's a simple matter for me to go to the flowers, back over to the projector, come back to the handles. If that's a little bit too fast, remember you can make adjustments to your speed so that it's exactly where you need it to be. Let's go back to position 1. You can see that's perfect every time. Okay, let's test this out. Right now, I have the Sony FS7 Mark II and the Sony 18-110 loaded up on the movie head. The movie head itself is rated for 10 pounds, and this is right there at the edge. If you've done any camera movement with a long lens, you know this can be a challenging situation. So let's go. I have 2 positions set with 110. Simple dolly with a pan. Let's see how this handles it. Position 1. Right there on the flowers. Man, that is smooth. There is a tiny little bit of shake there at the end as it settles into position, but that's pretty impressive. Okay, let's talk about sequences, right? Right now we've just been programming positions. We put hood in play and letting it go from position to position to position to position. There's a little bit more that we can do with that. We can set up a sequence. To do that, we have first set up scenes. I have 2 here programmed already, position 1 and position 2, just with dolly. I come back to the main menu, I hit sequences, and now I have my secondary sequence menu. You can see here, I can program up to 3 sequences with as many of those positions in each of those sequences as I need. For this one, we'll go into sequence 1, we'll go into edit, and we will add a cue, which is like adding the first position. That's memory 1, we'll add it. We will add memory 2, okay. And what this is saying is that in this sequence I've stacked the first position and the second position, and I can play that now. I can add a delay if I need to, but in this instance I don't, so we're gonna skip that right now. I hit done, and now in sequence 1, those are both loaded in sequence 1, I have 3 different options. I can have it just play that move 1 time, or I can tell it to go back and forth, especially useful on a dolly, right? I want to go from position 1 to position 2 and just slowly go back and forth between the two positions. Or I can do a loop. Now a loop is going to feel like back and forth when I just have dolly programmed. But if I had up to 9 different positions programmed into each of those memories, a loop is going to start going through all of those different axes that we've programmed in. All right, here are my thoughts on the Maxicrane system that we just looked at. Maxicrane has created a complete package for you. It has the movie head, the Scarab Dolly, the rail system, and everything you need to put that together. This controller with these removable grips and the touchscreen is very easy to use. If you are a DSLR filmmaker or you live in this class of camera with the Sony FS7 Mark II, the C300, this gear will work for you. There are some limitations. You're not going to get, an Optimo 12:1 on this head. It's not going to happen. But that's not what this is designed for. If you're a DSLR filmmaker, an indie filmmaker, somebody who needs special effects in your project, this stuff is going to work. You can use this for music videos, interviews. For interviews, it's great. Take one filmmaker and become two, right? You've already can program this to have one head moving the entire time you're doing your interview. You've just increased your production value. It's high quality. All the parts are machined right here in the United States. It's dependable. We put it through tests today. We saw that it was hitting its marks when it needed to hit its marks. It's easy to use. It's really easy to use. This is going to be the right gear, and it's very affordable. It's going to be the right gear at a very affordable option for the right filmmaker. Thanks.